presidential primaries, which produced Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a party standard bearer. All these will come your way after the hard news segment. I am Oluwatoyin Yusuf, welcoming you to our package for tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja today promised to facilitate a free, fair, and transparent electoral process in next year's general elections. This is said will be a way to honor the memory of the acclaimed winner of June 12, 1993 presidential election, the late Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola. President Buhari made the pledge in his 2022 Democracy Day speech this morning. The president called on political parties, candidates, and the electorate not to regard the elections as a do-or-die affair, adding that democracy is about a will of the majority, and therefore there must be winners and losers. Speaking in a televised broadcast, Buhari expressed his satisfaction with the primary elections conducted across various political parties ahead of next year's general elections, saying the primaries had set the tone for peaceful polls next year.
We moved Democracy Day from 29th of May to the 12th of June. This change was to remind all Nigerians of one free election, after which the presumed winner, along with Nigerians, were denied their rights and their choice. On June 12, 1993, Nigerians saw the best in our citizens as we all went out to vote peacefully. By June 24, 1993, we also saw the worst of our leadership as the elections were annulled. We must never forget the sacrifices of the heroes of Nigeria's democracy during 1993. Their patriotism and peaceful struggle should guide our actions, especially when it comes to electing our leaders and holding them accountable now and in future.
That it is important for all to remember that June 12, 2023 will be exactly 30 years from the 1993 presidential elections. He also called on candidates in next year's elections to imbibe issues-based approach and desist from character assassination as campaigns officially begin this September. Governor Adegboyega Oyetola has emphasized that his administration will continue to be inspired by the collective will of Osho people to drive its developmental aspirations so as to build a strong, virile, and resilient democracy. Governor Oyetola stated this at an event organized to commemorate the June 12 Democracy Day. OSBC news reporter Oluchi Amuda completes the story.
The June 12 Democracy Day event, organized by the state government of Osun in collaboration with Osun Civil Societies Coalition, attracted dignitaries from far and near. Speaking at the program, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola said the theme of the event, which is June 12, 29 years after interrogating Nigeria's democracy in the First Republic, Osun State in perspective, provided an opportunity to evaluate the nation and state's democratic experience. He noted that the spirit of June 12 is the spirit of the masses, which tells of the limitless possibilities that is inherent in the collective decision to make Nigeria work, notwithstanding its many challenges. Governor Oyetola maintained that the policies of his administration will continue to be anchored on quality service delivery to the people. In his address of welcome, Chairman of the Day, Chief Adegboyega Awomolo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who went down memory lane about the history of June 12, noted that Osun has remained a leading light for other states of the Federation, going by the quality leadership Governor Oyetola is providing in the state. While delivering a lecture titled, June 12, 29 years after, Interrogating Nigeria's Democracy in the Fourth Republic, Osun State in Perspective, the guest speaker Professor Shola Akinriade said the June 12 mandate will be fully realized when Nigeria is properly restructured to meet the exigencies of the time. According to him, a restructured federation will bring governance closer to the people and allow the regions to grow in their own space. He maintained that Nigeria must cut down the cost of governance for the people to enjoy full democratic dividends. Other speakers, including Dioluwo of Iwo, Oba Abdulrasheed Adewale Akande, Professor Wasiu Oyedokun, and Mr. Lekan Badmos, Commissioner for Regional Integration and Special Duties, commended Governor Adegboyega Oyetola for allowing the interests of the people to reign supreme through the delivery of developmental projects in every nook and crannies of the state. Dignitaries at the event included members of the State Executive Council led by the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Wole Oyebamiji, the Chief of Staff, Mr. Charles Akinola, Head of Service, Dr. Ologboyega Oyebade, Royal Fathers, members of the civil societies organizations, among others. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
Meanwhile, the election of June 12, 1993 has been described as a defining moment and evolutionary in a democratic disposition being currently enjoyed by Nigerians. The immediate past Commissioner for Energy and Water Resources in the state, Dr. Hamed Tadeshe, who gave the insight in an interview with OSBC News, noted that the election widely adjudged freest and won by Chief MKO Abiola is fundamental to the political emancipation of the country, which must be sustained for the benefit of the citizenry. He speaks further.
June 12 was a day that Nigeria recorded, against all odds, the fairest election in the history of this country. And to God be the glory, with what is happening presently in the country, we hope that we repeat that exercise come 2023. And next month, when we're going to pose to re-elect our governor, I'm sure, I'm confident that the good people of Osun State will vote massively for Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola for a second term in office. So I want every one of us to be patient with our democracy. We are still learning. So as
Still on Democracy Day, President Muhammadu Buhari has been thumbed up for reviving June 12 as a formidable and deathless day in the history of Nigeria and for recognizing the most widely applauded contestant in the 1993 election, the late Chief Mashood Kashima Wolawale Abiola, as the winner of the election. An activist, Comrade Wahid Lawal, made this statement while speaking to OSBC News. Comrade Lawal described the current political trend as a failure, as people do not vote again by conscience like that in 1993, but for monetary gain, which is detrimental to the nascent democracy.
The current heavy monetization of our politics, it may be difficult to have another June 12. Because, you know, the election we held on June 12 is an option A4, an open ballot system, that you come out and queue behind your... Nobody induced voters there. But what we're having now, since it is a secret voting system, they call people out and induce. So we witnessed the primary of some of these political parties recently, and we see how heavily the primary was monetized. So, except we have a new law that regulates the system, having another June 12 may be a mirage.
And away from June 12, but still on democracy, Governor Adegboyega Oyetola has described the emergence of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress, APC, as a victory for democracy and appointed to democratic sustenance in the country. Governor Oyetola gave this insight while speaking with party members who received him from Abuja following the special convention of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Governor's Office correspondent Sonia Ononide now reports.
Governor Adegboyega Oyetola has described the emergence of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress as a victory for democracy and pointed to democratic sustenance in the country. Governor Oyetola, who was being received from Abuja by party members chanting party slogans along Owena, Ilesha, Kajola, Osunjela, Ilesha Garage, expressed confidence in the ability, competence, and administrative acumen of the former governor of Lagos State, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take the country to an enviable height ever witnessed in the country. The governor, who commended the All Progressive Congress Special Convention held at Eagle Square as free, fair, and transparent, noted that the country was on the verge of democratic rejuvenation. He therefore called on voters in the state of Osun to ensure that the connection of their permanent voters card in ensuring the sustenance of good governance being currently demonstrated across the state of Osun.
I must commend the president of this country for ensuring a fairly reasonable, transparent process of selecting the flag bearer of our party. It is to his credit that everything went well without any manipulation. I must equally commend the governors from the north for standing by all of us in ensuring that the party's flag bearer is chosen from the south. And I must commend that the delegates of Osun did wonderfully well. They didn't allow themselves to be bought over by anybody. They stood by the mandate we gave to them. They behaved. They didn't compromise. And we scored 100%.
Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged the presidential flag bearer, having polled 1,271 votes to defeat Vice President Yemi Osunbaju, Honorable Rotimi Amechi, among other presidential aspirants of the All Progressive Congress. From the governor's office, Sanya Honoride reporting.
In the meantime, the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the APC presidential candidate in the next year general election has been described as a good omen for Nigeria, especially as the northern governors jointly embraced shift of power to the south. Special advisor to the governor on education, Mr. Jamiu Olawumi, dropped the hint shortly after participating in an OSBC television current affairs program Saturday Morning Treat. According to him, Asiwaju Tinubu's long years of rapport with all ethno-religious sects in the country shows him as a detribalized man fit to wear the shoes of presidency after Muhammadu Buhari.
I know Asiwaju is a bridge builder. Nobody, there are few people that have related with Asiwaju that I know that will resist invitation to support his presidential ambition. Now we have Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has his tentacles across the country in a manner that will say everyone has confidence in his capacity and capabilities. Even Chief Awolowo had predicted that the time will come when people in opposing camps will come together to fix Nigeria. And that's what has happened. People across Nigeria, if you have 13 governors in a country, considering that the power should shift to the south, it means those predictions are coming to truth. So what we have now is a seeming national consciousness that grows beyond sentiments of tribe, sentiments of religion, and sentiment of sex.
Pilgrims from Osun State to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have been charged to spur the gap of Oluwabi ethos in the Holy Land. Governor of the state, Mr. Adegboye Goyetola, gave the advice at a farewell program organized by the pilgrims, whose first batch is expected to have landed at the Hajj camp in Lagos now. Represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Prince Abdullah Binoyo, the governor reminded the pilgrim that Saudi Arabia is a country that does not play with its laws, particularly as against theft and illicit drugs. It encouraged them to hoist the banner of the state higher in Saudi Arabia as their predecessors have done. In their separate remarks, the Amir al-Hajj and Naibul Imam of Oshobola and Sheikh Maruf Ishala and the Administrative Secretary of Osun Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Alhaj Bolaji Soni, lauded Governor Oyetola for preparing ahead for a soft landing of the pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. They disclosed that the pilgrims will enjoy their stay in the Holy Land as the state government had made arrangements for comfortable accommodation and feeding in the kingdom. The Grand Imam of the state, Sheikh Musa Animashan, urged the pilgrims to pray to Allah in Mecca and Medina to grant the governor's heart's desires. OSBC correspondent on the pilgrimage, Kudrat Olariwaju, reports that the first batch is likely to be airlifted tomorrow afternoon. Governor of the state of Osun, Adigboyega Oyetola, said that the governors in the southwest region were committed towards strengthening Amotekun, the regional security network, in ridding the region of criminal elements. Governor Oyetola gave the assurance in Akure, the Ondo State capital, during a condolence visit to his Ondo State counterpart, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, over the recent attack by gunmen on worshippers at St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo. Governor Service correspondent Sonia Olonide filed his detail.
The governor of the state of Osun, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, has stated that the Southwest governors were poised to move a notch higher in tackling insecurity in the region. Governor Oyetola gave the assurance during a condolence visit to his Ondo State counterpart, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, at the government house, Akure, the Ondo State capital, over the terrorist attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo. The governor maintained that efforts were in top gear by the governors of the region towards strengthening security architecture of the Southwest region and preventing future occurrence, adding that the Owo attack has further reinforced the need between the state governors in the Southwest to adequately equip Amotekun, the regional security network, specifically funded to confront the rising wave of insecurity in the region.
Interrogate the security architecture of our zone with a view of knowing really that these people are very much around here. It's not a matter of speculation any longer. They are here with us. So we need to do everything humanly possible to ensure we don't allow them to, turn our zone to an insecurity situation.
In his response, the Ondo State Governor, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, while appreciating the gesture, also reaffirmed that it is imperative for the governors in the region to double up efforts in ridding the region of criminal elements. Governor Oyetola had earlier issued a condolence message to decry attack perpetrated by gunmen on the innocent worshippers at St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo. From the governor's office, Sonia Olonide reporting.
Osun State Governor Adigboyega Oyetola has said that addressing the current security challenges in the country must be seen as a collective responsibility of all Nigerians. Governor Oyetola noted that providing security is a major duty of government, said it also required the support of the citizenry to provide a partnership upon which the security architecture could be improved. The governor said this at an event today in the Obokun local government area of the state, represented by a special advisor on civic engagement, Mr. Olatubo Soyintiloye. The governor said that continuous weaponization of religion, ethnicity, and promotion of cultural differences must stop for the country to remain peaceful and united. The governor harped on the need for social cohesion through dialogue, justice, and equity to sustain peaceful coexistence among people living in the country. He maintained that for peace and unity to be attained among the populace, Nigerians must see themselves as one. Governor Oyetola, who said his administration is committed to the security of lives and property of its citizenry, also urged Nigerians to join in efforts to fix the nation so as to make the country conducive for the coming generation. Governor Oyetola also warned residents and citizens of the state to always report suspicious movement to the appropriate quarters for continued peaceful coexistence in the state. Traditional rulers in Iwo, Ayedire, Olaoluwa, and Ejigbo local government areas of the state have declared support for Governor Adigboyega Oyetola's re-election. The traditional rulers passed the vote of confidence in the administration of Governor Oyetola at an event held at the palace of Olu of Iliogbo, Oba Habib Adetoyese Agbaje. Speaking on behalf of other monarchs, Obagbaji said Oyetola had scored 85% in governance, stating that the governor deserves another term. The traditional rulers also expressed support to the efforts of federal and state government in tackling the security and economic challenges facing majority of Nigerians. The monarchs therefore called on various segments of the communities to key into the laudable and patriotic projects of the governor. And 11 more of the train passengers abducted by terrorists in Kaduna State in March have breathed their air of freedom after 75 days in captivity. The release followed a deal brokered by the federal government's negotiators. Reports say there are now 51 yet to regain their freedom. News of the latest release was broken by Malam Tukur Mahmoud, media consultant to popular Islamic scholar Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, as it came on a day Nigeria's ambassador to Benin Republic and former chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Brate, retired, described dialogue with armed groups as key to ending the current security challenges in the country. The freed hostages, some of whom are in fragile health, have been flown to Abuja for medical evaluation and attention. It was gathered that talks were being intensified last night to secure the release of the others. We welcome you to our sports segment. You welcome back. The Super Eagles have arrived at Agadir, Morocco, ahead of tomorrow's Group A 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sao Tome and Principe. The Eagles will go into their second Group A fixture on the back of a 2-1 win against Sierra Leone in Abuja on Friday. Goals from Alex Iwobi and Victor Osimhen saw the Eagles come from a goal down to beat the Leon Stars. For Sao Tome and Principe, it was not the best of start for them as they were thrashed 3-1 by Guinea-Bissau. On the foreign scene, Russia says its forces used caliber cruise missiles to destroy a large depot with U.S. and European weapons in Ukraine's Ternopil region. An official in Ukraine's southern region says Kiev forces out of ammo as battles rage with Russian troops. Russia says she will respond proportionately and appropriately to a NATO beat-up in Poland. President Volodymyr Zelensky struck a defiant note, vowing that the nation will prevail over Russian invaders. We now go on a short break. When we return, we'll bring you Dateline reports proper. Stay with us. June 12, 1993 has remained an unforgettable day in the annals of Nigeria. It was a day eligible voters in Nigeria participated in an election adjudged to be the freest and fairest presidential election so far in the country, and the hero of that day was Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, popularly known as MKO. It is 29 years down the lane. How well has Nigeria fared in its democratic journey? Daily reporter Oluchi Amuda takes us down the memory lane to the issues surrounding the June 12, 1993 struggle, now synonymous with Nigeria's Democracy Day.
Nigeria's journey into the realization of democratic governance was not achieved on a platter of gold. It was a huge struggle because of the long years of military rule. While some lived to tell the story, others were swept away by the storm. They paid the supreme prize for Nigeria's democracy. One of such people was Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, MKO, the winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. The presidential election held in Nigeria on the 12th of June 1999 was the first after the 1983 military coup that ended the country's second republic. Many considered it as a watershed in the history of the country, as the votes were devoid of tribal and religious sentiment. Eligible Nigerians who were obviously tired of the military rule came out in their numbers to exercise their franchise using option A4, where voters had to queue behind their preferred candidate and be counted. At the end of the election, Chief MKO Abiola, who contested under the platform of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, defeated Bashiru Tofa of the National Republican Convention, NRC.
No work, no food, no house, no life. Small water, then they bring us so dirty, they pull them. The small money, they get now social transport, they chop them. School low, na headache, hospital, no work. I tire for life, oh. My brother, waiting you they think, oh. My sister, help don't come. SDP, MKO, Kingibe, action. MKO, Kingibe, SDP, progress. Abiola, progress. Now he be the hope for better tomorrow.
The winner of the election was never declared as the then military head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, IBB, announced the entire election, citing electoral irregularities.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was, in fact, a huge array of electoral practices virtually in all the states of the Federation.
The annulment led to protests and political unrest in the southwest region. It also led to the resignation of General Babangida on the 24th of September 1993 and the creation of what many described as a weak interim civilian government headed by Chief Ernest Shonekan, a prominent corporate executive from the southwest region, with General Sani Abacha, a confidant of Babangida, serving as a defense minister. On the 27th of November 1993, General Abacha toppled the interim government in a palace coup. He dissolved the legislature as well as the state and local governments and replaced the elected civilian state governors with military officers.
Equal to the resignation of the former head of the interim national government and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Chief Ernest Shonekan, and my subsequent appointment as head of state and commander-in-chief, I have had extensive consultations within the armed forces hierarchy and other well-meaning Nigerians in a bid to find solutions to the various political, economic, and social problems which have engulfed our beloved country and which have made life most difficult to the ordinary citizens of this nation. Chief Ernest Shonekan took over as head of state and commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces at the most trying time in the history of our country. Politically, economically, and socially, there were lots of uncertainties.
And as expected, MKO Abiola kicked and demanded for the restoration of his stolen mandate.
Postponements and cancellations too. The country knows how busy and how otherwise occupied I've been all my life. Knowing fully well the misfortune of other distinguished Nigerians in the recent past, I have made the wildest possible consultation and sought assurances that I will not be chasing shadows. These assurances were given, in some cases from the highest level of government. I consulted the president himself, and he gave the assurance himself that this time around he was serious. I was therefore convinced that the commitment to civilian rule come August 27, 1993 was firm, settled, and irrevocable. I could not imagine that the purported transgressions of the judiciary could possibly today. Nigerian polls crowd as democracy is put on hold. Nigerian general voice vote blocking civilian rule. I will give you copies of all this. Take a look. The International Observer Group says so. NEC itself says so. They know it, and they said it. In his affidavit to the Court of Appeal in Kaduna, NEC said the results were already unknown. I won.
He was arrested and charged with treason in June 1994 after he declared himself president and commander-in-chief. Abiola's arrest led to protests and strikes by workers in the petroleum sector, banking sector, and the higher institutions for 9 weeks, paralyzed the economy, and the Abacha government subsequently arrested union leaders and dismissed civilian members of his cabinet. Sani Abacha died on June 8, 1998. MKO Abiola died a month later while in detention on the 7th of July, 1998. MKO Abiola did not die in vain, as President Muhammadu Buhari in June 2018 directed that the nation's Democracy Day will henceforth be held on June 12, as against the initial May 29. And a year later, in 2019, President Buhari assented to the bill legalizing June 12 as Nigeria's Democracy Day. It did not end there. MKO Abiola was recognized as Nigeria's president-elect posthumously and was awarded the highest national honor of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, GCFR, alongside his running mate, Babangana Kingibe.
I present Basharun Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola for the conferment of the posthumous award of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, GCFR.
President Buhari said the recognition was aimed at settling national ills and reconciliation.
Look at what he did. He went as far as Maiduguri to pick a Muslim. He was a Muslim. Babagana Kingibe is a Muslim from the north. But nobody talked about religion or that he was Yoruba and Babagana is Kanuri. People took them as Nigerian. I think that was the biggest success of Abiola, which made an impression in me that when I have the opportunity, I want to make sure that his name has been put in gold right away.
29 years after the June 12, 1993 debacle, analysts believe Nigeria's democracy still has a long way to go. Two legal practitioners, Mr. Bimbola Ige and Mr. Olufemi Anyodokun, reaffirmed that the worst civilian government is better than the best military administration. They, however, maintain that the key to good governance is a formidable electoral system that will give Nigerians the confidence that their votes truly count.
We may not have gotten to where we are destined as a nation, but we were not where we used to be. The recognition of June 12 as Democracy Day, it's one thing that gladdened people's heart when the announcement was made. There have been agitation for the recognition of the day as the Democracy Day. For instance, people expect better deal from the government in terms of quality education, in terms of quality delivery of democratic tendencies.
Yes, we may have had interregnum when the military took over power, but we, the people, were still we, the people, who yearned, okay, to govern ourselves. Democracy is government by the people, for the people, okay? That's what we understood what Aristotle said. And that is common experience anyway. When people elect their leaders and they have a say in how they are governed, you tend to have peace in that type of climb. You tend to have economic development. You tend to have advancement. You tend to have progress, okay? Because, you see, you can call to question those who govern you. This we said you should do to rule over us as a councillor, as a member of House of Assembly, as a senator, as a representative of the people at Federal House of Representatives, as a governor, as the president or the vice president. Give account to us. What are you doing? Are you doing the process? That's not what's happening in Nigeria presently.
DATELINE wishes Nigeria Happy Democracy Day. Oluchi Amuja for DATELINE.
DATELINE, packaged by Sayonari, reviews the special convention of the All Progressives Congress APC held at the Eagle Square Abuja, where Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged the presidential standard bearer of the ruling party. His report.
Following intrigues, insinuations, and permutation among the presidential aspirants of the All Progressive Congress, as well as the party stakeholders, the All Progressive Congress Special Convention held at the Eagle Square, Abuja, the federal capital, culminated with the emergence of the former governor of Lagos State, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Senator Tinubu, who polled 1,271 votes to defeat the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, with 232 votes. Minister of Aviation, Honorable Rotimi Amechi, with 315 votes. The Senate President, Senator Ahmad Lawan, with 152 votes, was declared the winner following a painstaking voting exercise that saw the delegates of the party drawn from across the country casted their votes throughout the night, with collation sorting and counting carefully monitored by the delegates and members of the public. Earlier, aspirants, including former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Godswill Akpabio, Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Dimeji Bankole, Mr. Ajayi Borofis, Mrs. Uju Onohen, as well as the Jigawa State Governor, Alhaji Badaru Abubakar, stepped down for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, maintaining that the former governor of Lagos State has the prerequisite experience and exposition in transforming the country's fortunes.
Good governance in Lagos State, and also to have the development we have in Lagos State today. So, Mr. President, I would have delivered a very powerful speech today on my manifestos, but I don't have to do so by being president. I will join the next president to turn the boys in Nigeria into men. And therefore, I dub my heart, and I assure that as I withdraw now, vote for Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu.
I'm prepared to sacrifice my ambition to be the president of Nigeria. I would love to recommend to all my supporters, all my delegates, starting from the 48 delegates in Ekiti State, to all my supporters across the length and breadth of the country, is that you please accord me the respect to offer the support you are giving me to my elder brother, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I want to urge all my supporters, I want to urge all of you that believe in me, that we have somebody that can do the job. We will rally around him to do the job. And it's no stranger to me. We have been together for quite some time, and that is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I believe with your support, with all of us coming together to support him, he will take Nigeria to greater heights, he will take Nigeria to the desired height. APC!
I wish to thank all the delegates here, all my supporters, for the wonderful job they have done throughout our campaign. And to tell them that we are trained to do what is right. We are trained to be just. We are trained to be fair. And we are trained to know that what is destined for you must come to you. What is not destined for you is never yours. For this reason, I want to reconfirm my withdrawal from this race and invite all my supporters and delegates to support our father, our leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thank you.
I am pleading with all the delegates to know that their vote is a lifesaver. We have our children to think of, especially their future. We have our mothers to think of. We have our nation to think of. Let them try and vote right for somebody who will be able to achieve all this for the brighter future of our children. That is what I'm pleading with the delegates. Your vote is a lifesaver. please utilize it well for the right candidates. And I feel, as Barrister Mrs. Uju Kennedy Ohanenye, that I should step aside for that lifesaver and the best candidate, who is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
In his acceptance speech, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu reiterated his commitments towards reconciling aggrieved members in ensuring victory for the party at the forthcoming general election and jointly move the country forward by exploring natural resources and human capital that is abundantly available across the country.
We will dredge Calabar and make it a port that will receive goods and fabrication. We will fabricate engine and brakes and many other parts in our area of expertise. We can do it. We can revive our economy. We can compete well with other nations. We can beat nations like Morocco and others. Yes, we can. And by the grace of God, we will. God bless you. We have young youths that we do things better to many other countries. We can create wealth. We will create wealth. We will turn Nigeria hand. It will be our El Dorado. God bless you. God bless you.
High point of the occasion was the presentation of the party flag to Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the All Progressive Congress Presidential Party flag bearer in the next general election by President Muhammadu Buhari. 23 presidential aspirants obtained expression and intent forms, but 13 were eventually cleared by the party screening committee. From the governor's office, Sonya Honoride for Dateline.
Thank you, Sonya Honoride. That ends Dateline on OSBC television. We thank you for watching. It was produced by Babatunde Bolatito with Temitope Karim and Abdul BC as production assistants. Good night.